Yeah, hi everyone. So this is regarding the fire. So today we'll be covering the introduction of the fire, and majorly we'll also covering why fire is better, how fire is look, and we'll go through with the fire resources. So this is what we'll covering in today's session. So let's talk about fire. So what is fire? FHIR stand for Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resources. So it is the Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resources, the full form of FHIR, and it is basically a standard and is the next generation standard framework created by HL7. So HL7 has introduced couple of more standard like version 2, HL7 version 2, HL7 V3, and CDA. But fire is something that they have introduced after using all standard, or you would say fire is a combination of the best feature in which you use HL7 V2, V3, and CDA. And the main concept of fire is based on resources. And the component and the resources present in the fire is total concept is based on the resources. So these resources can be easily assembled into the working system that solve the real world problem. It could be a clinical problem or administrative problem or any financial problem. And fire is best suited in all variety of category where you would be using any application wanted to connect with any server, where any cloud system or cloud communication is required to communicate with any server, or any EHR based data sharing model where some EHR wanted to share an information with any app or any application. So in all these contexts, fire would be very useful. We'll talk more about how these use case, how this problem fire is solved in our later session. But now let's talk about why fire is better. Fire is better because it offers so many features. The one of the major feature that fire provide that it is fast and easy to implement. So even if you don't have a clinical knowledge, if someone who is not coming from the clinical background, he can also work on the fire very easily, and he can understand the fire, and he can play around with fire or build an app and access fire message very easily, because fire is major focus on implementation. And there are couple of the second point is there are couple of multiple libraries on couple of open source project are available where any developer can start, or if you wanted to kickstart or you wanted to refer something, there's multiple project that fire has provided. It's easily available or freely available in the in open domain, I would say. And the specification is free. So if you just need to go to the hl7.org/fire site, you will find all the specification and with no restriction, and it provide interoperability out of box feature where basically it's having all the base resources where you can tweak all these base resources. You can create your own profile, you can create own your extension. So fire is already providing you a base profile. It's up to you how you can use and play around with those base resources. So that's what is explained in this line, and it's very evolved standard. Fire has already, you know the standard who developed fire, they already know what is version 2, what are the drawback of CDA and version 2, and how we can leverage, what thing we can leverage from those standard and create fire standard. And fire is mainly based on XML, JSON, HTTP, and OAuth, etc. Means the FHIR framework is majorly worked on the XML, JSON, HTTP, and framework. And it supports RESTful architecture. Therefore, the exchange of information is very easy, and is majorly based on service based architecture, where you just need to call the service, you just need to consume those services with general get method, put method, or post method. So FHIR support all RESTful architecture, so therefore the integration is very seamless, and this specification is very easy and concise, so anyone can understand this. And it provide a human readable serialization format, which would be very easy for any developer. And is provide ontology based analysis with formal mapping for correctness. So this something is still under development. Now FHIR is working towards, maybe in our current version is the current version of FHIR that which we are going through is R4. Maybe in R5 this would be available, and is flexible and adaption. The another the most important feature is flexible and adaption. So it cover all most of the part of the ecosystem, all the base resources already provided it. And if someone wanted to handle their own thing or their own structure or create own or I would say initiate their own local requirement, he can very easy do this. Now, here is an example of a FHIR resource patient. So how the structure of FHIR look like. So here you can see an example. This is how a FHIR structure look. The most important FHIR elements are the resource identity and metadata, which basically tell you that the resource ID and all the important information about the resource, date, and other detail flags, and all information would be part of the metadata. So here you would see ID is there, FHIR ID, resource ID they have provided. In the metadata, a lot of information would be there, but one of them is the last updated, when this resource last updated. And it's also provided a human readable summary. So is if anyone who don't know how to read JSON or XML, he can go through with this and understand what information is present in this FHIR message. It also provide an extension with URL to definition. If any extended information they wanted to add it in any FHIR resource, they can add as an extension. And they are the standard core element of the FHIR. So for example, our patient, the standard core element is the MRN, name, gender, birth, date, and provider. All would be explained it here in the in this structure. So this is all about the FHIR, the introduction of the FHIR. I hope you understood it, and so thank you everyone.